We again thank Director Mueller for joining us today. And Director, if you would please rise, I will begin by swearing you in. Do you swear that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. Let the record reflect that Director Mueller responded in the affirmative, and I will now introduce him. Our only witness today is Federal Bureau of Investigation Director Robert S. Mueller III, who has led the FBI since September 4th, 2001. He was first nominated by President George W. Bush. In 2011, he was asked by President Obama to remain as FBI director for an additional 2-year term, and that was swiftly approved by the Congress. Director Mueller has a long and honorable record in public service. After graduating from Princeton and receiving a master's degree from New York University, Director Mueller enlisted as a Marine and served in combat in Vietnam. He received a Bronze Star, 2 Navy Commendation Medals, the Purple Heart, and the Vietnamese Cross of Gallantry. After his military service, he earned his law degree in my home state at the University of Virginia. Early in his legal career, Director Mueller served as a prosecutor in the United States Attorney's offices in both San Francisco and Boston. After working as a partner in the Boston law firm of Hill and Barlow, Director Mueller returned to the Justice Department in 1989 as an assistant to Attorney General Thornburg and later as head of the Criminal Division. In 1998, Director Mueller was named United States Attorney in San Francisco, a position he held until 2001 when he was nominated to be Director of the FBI. Director Mueller, as your tenure is set to expire this year, we welcome you today for one last look and look forward to your statement. Please proceed. You want to turn on that microphone.
Good morning, Chairman Goodlatte, Ranking Member Conyers, and members of the subcommittee. And I thank you for the opportunity to appear here today and appear on behalf of the men and women of the FBI. And on their behalf, let me begin by thanking you for your support of the Bureau over the 11 years that I have been there. We live in a time of diverse and persistent threats from terrorists, spies, and cyber criminals. And at the same time, we face a wide range of criminal threats from white-collar crime to child predators. And just as our national security and criminal threats constantly evolve, so too must the FBI counter these threats, even during a time of constrained budgets. Today, I would like to highlight several of the FBI's highest priority national security and criminal threats. As illustrated by the recent attacks in Boston, the terrorist threat against the United States remains our top priority. And as exhibited by many of our arrests over the past year, we face a continuing threat from homegrown violent extremists. These individuals present unique challenges because they do not share a typical profile. Their experiences and motives are often distinct, which makes them difficult to identify and difficult to stop. At the same time, foreign terrorists still seek to strike us at home and abroad. Terrorists today operate in more places and against a wider array of targets than they did a decade ago. And we've seen an increase in cooperation among terrorist groups and an evolution in their tactics and an evolution in their communications. Core al-Qaeda is weaker and more decentralized than it was 11 years ago, but it remains committed to attacks against the West. Al-Qaeda affiliates and surrogates, in particular Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, pose a persistent threat. And in light of recent attacks in North Africa, we must focus on emerging extremist groups capable of carrying out attacks from that region. Next, let me turn for a moment to discuss the cyber threat, which has evolved significantly over the past decade and cuts across all FBI programs. Cyber criminals have become increasingly adept at exploiting weaknesses in our computer networks. Once inside, they can exfiltrate both state secrets and trade secrets. And we also face persistent threats from hackers for profit, organized criminals, cyber syndicates, and hacktivist groups. And as I've said in the past, I do believe that the cyber threat may well eclipse the terrorist threat in years to come. And in response, we are strengthening our cyber capabilities in the same way we enhanced our intelligence and national security capabilities in the wake of the September 11th attacks. Our cyber division is focused on computer intrusions and network attacks. FBI special agents work side by side with federal, state, and local counterparts on cyber task forces in our 56 field offices. We have increased the size of our National Cyber Investigative Joint Task Force, which brings together 19 law enforcement, military, and intelligence agencies to stop current attacks and prevent future attacks. And cybercrime requires a global approach. And through the FBI's 64 legal attaché offices, we are sharing information and coordinating investigations with our international counterparts. And at the same time, we recognize that the private sector is the essential partner to protect our critical infrastructure and to share threat information. We have established several noteworthy outreach programs, but we must do more. We need to shift to a model of true collaboration and build structured partnerships within the government as well as in the private sector. Turning finally to the FBI's criminal programs, the FBI's responsibilities range from complex white-collar fraud to transnational criminal enterprises and from violent crime to public corruption. Given limited resources, we must focus on those areas where we bring something unique to the table. For example, violent crime and gang activity continue to exact a high toll in our communities, and through Safe Streets and Safe Trails task forces, we identify and target the most dangerous of these criminal enterprises. And at the same time, the FBI does remain vigilant in its efforts to find and stop child predators. Our mission is threefold. First, to decrease the vulnerability of children to exploitation. Second, to provide a rapid, effective response to crimes against children. And third, to enhance the capabilities of state and local law enforcement through task force operations such as the Innocent Images and Innocence Lost initiatives. Now let me turn and spend a moment discussing the recent public disclosure of highly classified national security programs. The highest priority of the intelligence community is to understand and to combat threats to our national security, but we do so in full compliance with the law. We recognize that the American public expects the FBI and our intelligence community partners to protect privacy interests, even as we must conduct our national security mission. The FISA Court has approved both programs, and these programs have been conducted consistent with the Constitution and the laws of the United States. And the programs have been carried out with extensive oversight from courts, independent inspectors general, and Congress. These programs do remain classified today, so there are significant limits on what we can discuss this morning in open session. But I do understand that there have been classified briefings on these programs for this committee and for the House at large, and I hope that you've been able to attend it, and if not, will be able to attend such a briefing from the intelligence community regarding both the focus, the strictures on, and the legality of these programs. As to the individual who has admitted making these disclosures, he is the subject of an ongoing criminal investigation. These disclosures have caused significant harm to our nation and to our safety. We are taking all necessary steps to hold the person responsible for these disclosures. As this matter is actively under investigation, we cannot comment publicly on the details of the investigation. Now, in closing, I would like to turn to sequestration. The impact of sequestration on the FBI's ability to protect the nation from terrorism and crime will be significant. In 2013, the FBI's budget was cut by more than $550 million due to sequestration, and in 2014, proposed cuts will total more than $700 million. The ongoing hiring freeze will result in 2,200 vacancies at the FBI by the end of this fiscal year, with 1,300 additional vacancies in 2014. I have long said that our people is the Bureau's greatest asset. Additional operational cuts will impact the FBI's ability to prevent crime and terrorism, which will impact the safety and security of our nation. We do understand the need for budget reductions, but we would like to work with the committee to mitigate the most significant impacts of those cuts. Chairman Goodlatte, Ranking Member Conyers, and members of the committee, I want to thank you again for your support of the FBI and for its mission. Our transformation over the past decade would not have been possible without your cooperation, and I look forward to any questions you may have. Thank you.